My son worked at a local plant store garden center. One day when the afternoon shift came in, the store manager confronted the afternoon manager and accused him of forgetting to lock the door the night before. The main door had a pretty elaborate locking procedure. It had multiple locks and deadbolts that secured into the floor and the ceiling. Afternoon manager insisted he had locked the door. A few days later, same thing happened. Day store manager is furious because he came in to find the door completely unlocked, and an argument broke out between the managers right in front of the other staff. Afternoon manager says he had definitely locked the door. They decided to check the security cameras. Afternoon manager had indeed completed all the steps to lock the door. Panic hits because now they think someone is hiding in the store during the day and sneaking out at night. They comb through the security tapes, but no one is seen. Also, the alarm system isn't being triggered by movement. All the employees are baffled. A few days later, same thing. Cameras show the door is properly locked at night and mysteriously unlocked by morning. No one can figure out how. Unfortunately, then COVID hit and my son was laid off. We never did know how it ended.
On K Street in Sacramento, California, there was a record shop, which I think was just called Records, but we all called it Makoto Records because that was the name of the guy who owned it. This place was well known for its resident calico cat, and the store was even featured on the insert album photo of DJ Shadow's first album, Introducing. It was also famous locally for being super haunted by an older woman in a black Victorian dress. She was even known to shush people who were being too loud in the store. I never saw her, but many, many, many people did. She appeared as a solid figure, apparently. I often wonder what's in that space now, and if the old lady still haunts it.
I live in a city with lots of old buildings, and one of my managers at a retail job 4 years ago had been working at a taco place down the street for a while. A lot of those shops had basement storage, and he told me that he and his colleagues had been goofing off in the taco shop basement once, rolling around in a wheeled office chair. Apparently at one point, they pushed the chair down so hard with no one in it that it rolled all the way to the end of the hall, and then rolled back towards them as if someone had pushed it. There was no one else there. Made me terrified of the basement storage in our own shop for a while, even though nothing scary ever happened there.
20 years ago, I worked at a very well-known theme park. I was working in the stockroom on the second floor of a souvenir shop with about 30 other people sometime around midnight, preparing to stock for the next morning. On the east side of the building was a giant vault, what you'd think of as a stereotypical bank vault, where we stored all of our physical media. Out of nowhere, the vault door slammed shut from a fully opened position. This was followed by an entire aisle of plush toys dropping from shelves in a wave, as if someone had run by with an arm extended and knocked them all to the floor. Most of us just stood in silence, trying to process what we experienced. Some of the veterans laughed it off, and one mumbled something about how the new hires finally got to meet her.
Used to work 6 a.m. shifts at an outlet store. Worked as a stock associate there for about 3 years. Once, and only once, the few of us there heard someone whistling a tune very loudly. It came from the far end of the sales floor, long before opening and before any sales associates had arrived. I cannot express how loud, clear, and strangely beautiful the whistle was. It was a familiar song, but I don't recall if anyone knew exactly what it was. The whistle went on for a minute or two, then faded as though someone had walked away. We investigated and never saw or heard anyone. I still don't know if it was real or if someone pulled one over on me, but it's a creepy, mysterious memory for sure.
I work in a library built in the early 1900s. The original building takes up half the block. The other half were shops and an SRO hotel. But in the 90s, the shops hotel were torn down and the library expanded. Also, the basement used to be the ground floor, until flooding caused the city to raise the sidewalks. So now there are tunnels under the sidewalks. We also have an attached event space we rent out. I have a few stories, but these are my favorites. Event crew members Seth and Jason were working in the early morning hours to set up for an event. Long before staff arrive and the doors open, Seth was in the basement hallway under the old building waiting for the freight elevator to load chairs in to take upstairs. He starts hearing banging on the closed doors down the hall. That led to an area that used to be part of the tunnels under the sidewalk but was turned into office space in the 90s during the expansion. The door has a narrow window, but it was dark on the other side, so he couldn't see who was banging, but it sounded like they were frantic to be let out. He shouted down the hall that he would go upstairs and get his co-worker's keys to let him out, but they kept banging. When he got upstairs, he told Jason that someone was locked in that office space and needed to be let out. Jason told Seth that those doors have panic hardware on the inside, that there's no way you could be locked in, as a door is only locked from the outside. When he got downstairs, the banging had stopped. He went to the office and noticed that the door wasn't even locked at all, and no one answered when he called out. On another day, Jason was walking to get lunch. We work in a downtown area with lots of unhoused folks, the library's main clientele. A man on the sidewalk shouted out to Jason, "Do you work at the library?" Jason said, "Yes. How did you know?" And the man said, "I can see that library spirit following you."